Right, let's continue now on the actual unit, and we'll look at the major learning outcomes. I've given you a good introduction, which I believe you take on board of what is expected of you in terms of evidence to produce. And since you've got a booklet yourself, you can actually look through the booklet and tune it up. For any questions, you know where to go on the Moodle, and your online tutor is over there. And if you're doing face-to-face classroom, your tutor will be able to help you on how to package everything. Right. In this session, we will look at what a diaspora organization is and the meaning of diaspora communities, which I touched on when I was introducing the criteria. And we will also touch on what the brain drain isn't and the importance of people in diaspora, and this will help you answer P1 and P2. So, first of all, what is a diaspora community? For us to understand the diaspora community, you must understand that a diaspora is a person, one person first of all, who has left a country of origin here, has moved into a diaspora. And we say, for example, if this is Africa, this person leaves Africa, and let's call this is Zambia, or Nigeria, or Congo, etc. Now they move over here in the diaspora. Let's say this is now they are in B. Let's say this is the UK, or USA, or Australia, anywhere, or it could be the other way around. These people are over here, that's UK, USA, or Australia, then they move over into Africa. So they are in diaspora. The key point is you have left, or that person has left the country of origin to go elsewhere where they were born, and they live there. Now, when these people move over, for example, they move over there in the UK, they move over there in the UK, Congolese move there in the UK. So, one person moving from one country of origin to another country, where now they are now in the diaspora, here they form a new community. Zambians, Nigerians, Congolese meet together. Now they make a new community of ZNC. They are no longer individuals, but they have formed a community. What has brought them together? They are in a foreign country, so their needs are similar. Number one, they have left families over there. They want to find a new family with similar culture. So if they are all Africans, they might tend to come and gravitate towards each other because they are African, they share some certain values together. Not that there's anything wrong with the people they find in that country, no, simply because they are missing something in here of a cultural value which they can't find over there. Similarly, if these people in the UK, USA, or Australia moved over there, these become their diaspora. They will also form a community of UK, USA, Australia, because they found something common about them. They are from the Western world, and there are some certain cultural values which Western people share, even though they are from different streams. So this now forms what we call a diaspora community. For the sake of argument, let us also ... These people have met themselves in a country called Congo. So they form a community, UK, USA, Australia. These are Westerners now in Congo. They share same values, although they come from different streams, different nationalities, of the Western world, but when they go to live in Africa, in a country called Congo, they tend to look for each other because they are missing a certain cultural, communal come together. Eventually, they become a diaspora grouping. Now, the purpose of this session is now to bring out the elements that will help you in terms of development. P1, give 2 good examples in very few words how a diaspora person impacts you in a positive sense, whether you're one of them or not. Right. There we have a group forming here. Why have these people, for example, from Africa, gone to live in the UK? Or the other way around? People move from one nation to the other mostly for looking for development. Development meaning a better life. And there they can aspire to higher goals, etc. There isn't a person on earth that moves from one country to the other than looking for better prospects. Whichever you look, where you look at it. Better prospects could be you're going to go and help other people come out of what you think you have skills to contribute, even though that place you're going to is not as cool as where you're coming from, but the purpose for your going there to take whatever skill you have is to go and help other people have a better life. That in itself is a better prospect. What you help others to do, when you help others, you're actually helping yourself in the long run. You understand that? Sometimes it could be education. Education is also bettering yourself. Sometimes it's direct business. That's also bettering yourself. You're running out maybe from persecution. That's also bettering yourself, because if you are persecuted where you are, you want to go to a place where it's calm and you're free, then you can move forward in life. Whichever reason, you have left your country of origin to there. Now, there are certain things that needs to start happening in you. And this is what we're going to look at so that you understand the purpose of this course. We are over here. If you see in the middle here, it says productive relationship. When you go over here to a country that we're not born in, you begin to look at positive things. Number one, you can look at, for example, E stands for education. Education, under education there's FA, formal education, IB, informal education. Whichever way you look at it, you're going to fall into these categories. Formal education, this is where you sign up in a program that will run for a certain period of time and you are being instructed. You are in formal education at whatever level. Informal education, this is where now you look around and begin to teach yourself. You sit in workshops, you go on the internet, you read stuff that is relevant to your development, you go in a newspaper, you're cutting articles that are going to develop yourself. You begin to increase in knowledge and understanding. You begin to learn about the community and what good thing there is in that community. What sort of good things, what sort of things they do very well that you can learn from. Once you do that, you're actually comparing what we call prior learning. When you came from there to there, you had already learned some stuff. So you are a well-developed person to that level. And when you move your country of origin, going elsewhere, you want to develop yourself from where you were to another level. There is no point for you to say, I'm going to look for greener pastures, and when you go in the greener pastures, you begin to regress. For you, that's not greener pastures. Something is not right. So we try to fix it. Once you go through this program, you can even begin to fix your own life. Right. So when you go over there, you begin to do what? To do what? Out of this gain. You gain. Once you gain, you increase. Increase in knowledge, increase in finances, increase in influence, increase in understanding, increase in patience. For when you have more knowledge, there's so much stuff that you see can be changed. Therefore, you must develop patience as well. Now, when that happens, you went over there, this has begun happening already. Why? Because when you pick up the phone, you contact the people over here, you're going to find that there is some things that you have picked up over here which they don't have. And also, when they speak to you, there are some things they have gained which you don't have because time has passed, they've been developing as well. But you missed out that bit. So now, there must be a symbiotic relationship between the country of origin and the diaspora because of you to produce a productive relationship. A productive relationship. That's going to be your main goal. Your main goal to produce a productive relationship. Because you're on this course, you'll be guided on how to do this. Now, you're going to pick up a piece of paper, A4, you write things that you have now learned as a result of being in diaspora. Things that has improved in your life as a result of being in the diaspora. Things that you have seen the host community do very well, you write them down. Things that you see can be of value to the country of origin, you write them down. You understand that? Then, your next interaction with your country of origin must be planned such that you now find a way of transferring that kind of skill or knowledge or information without offense. Some people make a mistake because they have traveled over here or over there, they think they are better than the country of origin. No. You become, what we say, a tool that can help move one another up. One another up, the host community, diaspora community, and the community you've left behind. You like that? I like it too. I like it too. Because we're going to see a total transformation of the mindset of people that are going to live in the diaspora and the mindset of people that remain in the country of origin. Thank you. We continued our topic on the diaspora management. We have looked at a number of aspects, what a diaspora organization is and the meaning of diaspora communities, in which we've shown 2 examples from Africa into the Western world, from the Western world into Africa or any part of the world. That's what it means. As long as you've left the community and formed a new community abroad, you are a diaspora community. Right. And you've seen a number of important issues raised regarding the developing a productive relationship between the host community, yourself, and the country that you've come from, called the origin. Now here, I just want to very quickly look at the brain drain in this aspect, what the brain drain is not, and the importance of people in the diaspora. In the next session, as we continue, we will be drawing out elements that will help us meet that criteria. And in the assessment criteria for this, we'll be looking at P2, by which now you will understand the value addition. Let's run together in this and see what we can come up with in form of the evidence for you to produce. I want us very quickly to look at the following aspect so that people in the classroom can also see these materials. Excellent. For the sake of you on the screen, you can see now that we are around about P2, value added. I'll look at that in a critical way. And P3 will touch on it, looking at the mutual and cohesive way of living together of variable communities because of diaspora situation. Right, and the other session will tackle P4 and P5. Let's make it simple. Right, let's see what we have to look at in the sense of actual development. I love technology because technology does help me to teach, and I think you're also enjoying this resource. First of all, let me just re-emphasize for the sake of you, as you're playing the video clip back and forth, what I've just said, in case it didn't pop up on the screen, I'll say it again here. We'll look at P2, describe 2 or more ways in which a diaspora person can show value added to, number 1, their qualification, attitude, consistency, public relations, family, and community. Now, for you and I, or anybody that moves from one location to another with a view of improving one's own life, there are certain elements that we have drawn out into this curriculum, and those we hope we can measure before and after. In terms of value additions, what elements are we going to measure? What are we going to look at? On the board here, education and the qualifications. If you look at P2, it talks about that. A for attitude and consistency, CON here. Then family and community. Then we have PR, public relations. I think these 1, 2, 3, 4 are a very good starting point. A very good starting point in trying to measure the changes before and after you travel to go and live elsewhere in another country. Let me use an example of fellow Africans, because I'm African. I can't talk about other communities because I'm not that community by nature, in the sense that I was born an African and I've got certain sort of cultural values that I've grown up with. And when you say cultural values, it means there are sort of things that we pick up because of the environment in which we live in, and those things that we learn because of the environment that we live in, and the education system, and many other things. They make up and create a culture, and so forth. Now, when you have traveled and you have educated yourself, in the previous session, we talked about education, formal education, and informal education, and so forth, and so forth. How would you know, or how would you measure whether or not you are performing all right? Certain things must change. You'll proactively, because when you traveled to that nation, you had in mind you're leaving another nation behind, to which you have a responsibility. Some of you directly responsible because your families are there, meaning your wife and your children are there. Some of you, although you're not married, but you've got your siblings. Some of you, maybe just a larger community, because all your family have moved with you, but still you have responsibility. Now let's have a look at what I think should be elements we have to look for. And in answering this question for P2, I'd like you to present a table or a chart of some sort. Then from there we can measure. In your evidence, the A4 or whatever chart that you produce, look at education and qualification. What have you added to that? Value simply means you have increased in your output. You have become even better. I want to define value in a very simple term. If you buy a new house, are you going to add value by putting, for example, a conservatory, or painting it in a color that is attractive? Anything that you add to improve the property that you have is called value addition. To your education and qualification, I've put consultancy. Since you came to the UK or the Western world or the other way around, can you tell me that as a Bachelor of Arts in Economics, you have added value by learning certain things that can make you a consultant in your area? Or you have altogether abandoned that qualification and found a new direction, and you've begun your life all over again 10 years back. Mind you, when you have a degree in economics or in an MBA, and you go to another country, but you don't find a job in that area, it does not mean you should abandon it. Begin to reinvent yourself such that if you cannot get direct employment in that area, constitute a new business where you become a consultant in economics or MBA. Then attend workshops and conferences to build your capacity in what we call continuous professional development. Because the environment, especially that you've come into, has all these things available. Let me talk about the Western world as an African coming from Africa into the Western world. There are some certain things which are pretty well settled in the Western world. For example, United Kingdom. Systems are well developed. Systems are well developed in certain things. Processes are well developed. Can I not use those to add value to my qualification? I should constitute myself in consultancy, thereby developing a new business. So when I do tend to travel back to my country of origin, I must have something as a vehicle that can help me transfer that knowledge. Not just me as an individual. Reliability. Can people rely on me in terms of knowledge? If I'm an economist or MBA, whatever the case might be, can people really come to me, our qualified person has come from abroad? He or she can advise us on this. That's value addition. Be proactive. So I want you, as you are answering this question, to really think through what you perceive a person in diaspora can really add value to their educational qualification. Do some bit of research. I'll show you some websites to go on in the next section. The other bit is attitude and consistency. An attitude sometimes is defined as the way you respond to things, the way you do things, the way you carry yourself, the way you think. What is your attitude towards education? No, I've got a degree already. I don't want to learn nothing. Your attitude is not right in that sense because you block yourself from further development. Willingness to listen. Are you willing to listen? I've learned a lot from young people who come in my class, listening to what I'm teaching. I've taught in the further education, post-compulsory education, 16 plus, young people and adults. I find that actually, over many years, my attitude towards listening has improved. I'm willing to listen more. Even though I may think I know much in that area, I listen. As I'm listening, I'm also learning and re-educating myself and actually acquiring new information. If you've traveled to a country that's far advanced, like the Western world, I think in some areas, be willing to listen. And also, if you've traveled to another country, a third world country, and from the Western world, be willing to listen. Because there are things that you're going to learn that you didn't know. You're going to understand the way people live and why they live the way they live. Even before begin any form of development, be willing to listen. Value addition. Add that to your character. Timekeeping. Timekeeping is essential. I've removed what people used to say, African time. There isn't nothing in this world like African time. There's only one time. If I say the meeting is 5 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock, period. If you are late, simply say, I'm sorry, I'm late. And also for those people who come from the Western world and live in Africa, don't go over to Africa and begin to say African time and you become part of the cycle of late coming. It is wrong. So you must be able to add value to that after you've traveled to another nation, especially in the Western world. Why do I say so? Because if we can keep time for every single thing that we do, efficiency will improve. will meet our targets. Predictability. Predictability. Are you predictable? When you say, I'm going to do A, you must do A. If you can't do it, say, I'm sorry, can't do it. Sometimes you find that people, because they cannot be predicted, it's difficult to deal with them. And I've found that by my own experience, in some parts of the world, they can actually predict a person. This one will come and put his cup of coffee there. This one will come at 5 o'clock and make sure they'll do their work. So you want to work with somebody whom you can predict their time, and you can also model that they'll finish on time. Not whereby, number one, the office is open, you're not there, they don't know when you come to work, but at the end of the month, you always get paid. It's wrong. Attitudes must change once you have traveled. Pick up some good stuff. One thing I've picked up from the English people or the British people that entered the kingdom is timekeeping. Very good at timekeeping. To the point. Simple. That value can be put on us that have traveled into the Western world. What about family and community? Since you came to live in diaspora, are you able to transfer knowledge to your family and the community? I remember one of the programs that we developed last year. I think it's this very course itself. One of my candidates was my family member. I invited some family members. I said, guys, there's a wonderful program coming on the scene, and I left some booklets. Sign up on this program. One of my sisters signed up, and apparently she became my student. Because I had many students, 8 in Kabwe, 1 in Lusaka. The one in Lusaka was my student. I had to pick up 9, a group of 9, and I was delivering via Skype. She was one of them. She's completed 3 good units. So that knowledge transfer is important. Family is benefiting by you being over here, away from home. Skill transfer. Are you able to say, since you left your home country, you've developed skills and you want to go and transfer when you go on holiday, for example, or have you linked yourself in some form of embassy to your country, identify which projects that require people to go and volunteer to be able to transfer skills? That must be important on your agenda. For example, are you now bettering the life of others because you are abroad? I was trained in science. Business is something that I've grown up with. My father, my mother, they taught us business. And I've developed myself in learning. Now, I've come in the United Kingdom. From the 90s, I got involved in community development. I became a member of the Sheffield African Welfare Association. And afterwards, I was selected to become the chairman. And I got involved in the community. I didn't say, no, this is a community, it's nothing to do with business and science. No. I saw an opportunity, and I saw that the influence that I can have on the people can be positive through the skills that I have. So are you doing that? Are you bettering the community? Afterwards, many people have been supported because of my involvement and the involvement of others of a similar minds. It's important. What about public relations? How polite have you come? There's one example I can give. I went to Zambia. Zambia is a nation that is moving forward, not because I'm Zambian, but because of what I saw. Zambians have become very, very polite. The businessmen and women, customer care is improving. And I was driving over the overhead bridge, and I saw many vendors, beautiful, handsome guys, beautiful women. They are selling good products. But one thing I saw, they smile and how polite they were. Before, many, many years ago, in the 80s, it was different. But now, the nation has changed. But now you and I have traveled. I've learned also some skills in the UK. When you go to the shop, they smile at you. Anything else I can do for you after you buy? Hey, you feel like buying the whole shop because they'll treat you good. Some of those things you can buy into and also improve your own public relations. Become more polite. Become clear in your objectives. Public relations has to be centered on the objectives. Why are you reaching out? How do you reach out? People must know and be clear. Once they follow you, they know what they're up to with you because you're very clear. These things you can pick up in the community. In the UK, I've learned that people can be helpful if you ask the right question, especially in the shops, in a workplace. If you ask the right question. But I'm just talking about in general, not specific. I know some areas, some people might have a rough shoulder. I'm not talking about that. Things that you can perceive and see and experience. If you do ask the right question in the shop, for example, they'll help you. Now, have you become more helpful yourself? Can you go outside your way to help somebody else? Now, these things are some of the elements that we've got to look at and use them to measure our value addition as a person. Mind you, I'm not talking about corporate. It's you, the diaspora person that has traveled. But if I have diaspora 1, diaspora 2, 3, with this kind of attitude, we have a community that is positive, adding value to the host community, to themselves, and to the country of origin. So you have a triple-edged sword, maybe double-edged sword, one sword here and another one. Positive value to your community, positive value to the host community, and positive value to the country of origin. So that when you say, I traveled, I left my country, I've been away for 20 years or 15 years, you come out a better person. So when people are around you, they deal with you, they know you are an asset. Okay? The word asset is spelled as, you become what? An asset. And I'm going to end there for today. I trust that you're going to follow these materials consistently and produce the evidence according to the description of this course. Thank you very much. In fact, invite other people to sign up on the course. All the materials you need to upload or show is on the Moodle. Go on the website, the West Midlands Open College website. It appears on the screen. Thank you very much. Signing off, Dr. John Lukomona.